Are we here? Does this work? One way to find out. Hello, everybody. I see Kopaz is here. I see other people are here. Hello. How are you all doing? Oh my God, that's a lot of people. Whoa. That is... Erica, does your stream chat move like this? Look at this. Oh, she can't see. She's away. Happy Sunday.
Wow. Jeez.
Look at this. How are you supposed to read this? Well, Lisa just... From Canada? Love you since CBC, man. Thank you. You won't read this probably sad face. Probably. Nice rubber duck. Yes, this duck is here since Eli the computer guy is not going to be getting the gold play button. So this here is in solidarity of Eli the computer guy.
Oh, jeez.
It kind of sounds like him. Kind of sounds a little like him. But
It sounds like he's in pain.
YouTube, you got a desk. Yes, and a lot of people said that I need to clean it. It's not that. It's a style. So Erica found this for free. Apparently this piece of shit's like $1,000. It actually has a bunch of little sparkles. It has a bunch of sparkles built into the bottom of it that, to me, looks like dirt. I don't know why they designed something like that, but yeah, that's actually sparkles built into the desk.
It looks like a nice little night sky.
Do you bath with the duck? Maybe. That was a sickly sounding duck. Okay, that's a bit of spam, so we're just going to make you go away. All right. Please comment on false M1 battery life claims. I don't know anything about the M1 battery life claims. The thing where when you plug in certain dongles, the computer just kills itself, that was a bit more interesting to me because that's the type of thing, those are the type of real world use cases that I'm probably going to be meeting in the real world. And thank you to Ari Botch. That's the kind of thing that I'm going to encounter. Like, I'm going to forget my dongle. I'm going to need to use my Magewell when I'm recording something, and I'm going to, be using that Magewell dongle while I'm the dongle to attach the Magewell USB to HDMI capture thingy to my computer, and then my computer will die because I didn't use an Apple dongle. Like, that's the type of thing that I'm going to run into. Hello, Northside. Hello, Northside Service. Good to see you. So I am going over the ideas from that last video that I did, where I was thinking about how to go over getting a direct ballot initiative going without $5 to $20 million. And there's a few ideas that have been popping through my head that I thought I'd share with you all. Hello, David, and hello, Dio. Hello, Kitty. I'm sure Erica says hello back. So one of the things, do you want a Mac or a PC? I'm not even going to get into that. Greetings from Central Europe. Thank you. So what I'm thinking of doing is, so there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. So in one of the states that I'm looking at, a direct ballot initiative, I think, has a deadline of August. And I already have a 501c3, but in order to be able to really do what I want to do, I think you can only use 20% of your funds for lobbying or something like that, or for certain types of political initiatives from a C3, you'd need a C4. So it takes about 3 to 5 months to form. Now, it's the middle of March right now, so if the deadline is August, that would mean that in order to form the type of organization that I'd like to form, there's a very good chance that it gets formed literally a day before the deadline, which would mean that I wouldn't get to start fundraising until pretty much the day of the deadline to actually file a direct ballot initiative, which is pushing it. That is somewhat pushing it. So I'm kind of curious to myself, how much of that 5 to 20 million would actually have to be spent before you file a direct ballot initiative? Like, is that for the advertising, the polling, the focus groups, the community outreach and all that shit after the fact? Or is that before the fact? Because if it's before the fact, then there's really no way to go about that. But if it's after the fact, I'm kind of curious if there's a chance. Any comment on passing right to repair in EU? I've heard a bunch of people talk about this thing where it says the electronics have to last for 10 years or something. Again, when I can buy an ISL 9240 from a vendor in the UK or something, that I'll consider right to repair to have been successful. Until that day passes, it's all just window dressing for me. But I have to see what the details are there. But so one of the things that I'm thinking of doing is I'm debating using my own money to try and get the direct ballot thing started, And then once I can actually form a 501c4 or C6, at that point, then I could start trying to do a fundraiser to get the actual amount of money that would be necessary. And this is something that's kind of going through my head, because like I don't think I want to miss it. But I'd have to be really careful about that. So how about crowdfunding, someone said. So let's say I do crowdfunding. I would have to collect that money to something. So again, I have a 501c3 for purposes that are not really for lobbying. But I don't have a 501c4 or C6, which I imagine, and I'm in the process of speaking to an attorney at the moment, but I imagine a 501c4 or C6 would be required to be able to put money into a direct ballot initiative. Now, if it takes 3 to 5 months to set one up and actually get approved, and the deadline for the direct ballot initiative is August, that means that using a C4 or a C6 for fundraising wouldn't work, because by the time I can start fundraising, the deadline's hit. So one of the things that I'm debating is putting my own money in the beginning, and then depending on how much money needs to be spent in what curve. So if this is one of those things where most of the money gets spent in the middle or the end of the initiative, like 2022, that's different than if most of the money has to be spent early on. Like if most of the money is getting 80,000 or 150,000 signatures, then that's not something I'd be able to do. So this is something that I'm exploring. I just wanted you to know that I read all your comments in the other video, and I'm kind of going through and thinking about what to do there. I vote for you, thanks. Don't vote for me. I'm a bad politician. Also, Erica's crawling under the camera because she's... are you self-conscious about your makeup or something? She's crawling underneath the camera.
I was gonna bring the influencer over here.
I vote for you, thanks. Also have to make parts available to normal text. Well, that would have to be a part of it. One of the things I've said with any of these right to repair bills is that if right to repair passes and you're not capable of buying an CD3217 or buying a schematic, then that right to repair bill doesn't count. That doesn't exist. It doesn't matter anymore. Thanks to you, I've recently started talking to people at work to bring up the importance of right to repair in an effort to make my employer a vocal supporter. Well, that's awesome, Tyler Smith. Thank you for doing that. That's the thing. You need people to actually care first. And they do have to make parts available. It's in the bill. Hopefully it winds up being chipsets as well, and not just I hope that, this is one of the things that I talked about with Duke. Duke used to post in my forum a while ago and was a mentor of mine. The way this would have to work is if a specific part that has many parts on it costs more than X amount of dollars or X% the cost of the device, individual components need to be made available. So for instance, if you have a $3,000 computer and the motherboard is $1,500, then you can't just say, okay, we're making the motherboard available at $1,500, right to repair done. No. If the machine is $2,000 and the motherboard is $1,500, then you need to tell Texas Instruments and Intersil that cut out this shit where they're not allowed to sell chips to us anymore. That's something that, and those small inner workings are going to be important to whether or not a right to repair bill that gets passed is actually usable or viable or a complete pile of shit. What do you think the budget would be, estimate lowball or highball, if I made this place any better, you couldn't afford it style lobbying direct ballot? I'm thinking probably at least a few million. Probably it would probably be a few million. Now, if I was able to get the support, hypothetically speaking, of every single large technology YouTuber, every single large makeup YouTuber, vlogger YouTuber, Jake Paul YouTuber, Mr. B, like all those people were for a short few months to say this is an issue that we care about, vote for this, then probably I'd be able to get away with doing it with no money. But that's really small. And the main issue that I would have with fundraising right at this point, it's not even whether or not I'd be able to get the money, whether or not I'd be able to start the organization in time. So again, if it takes 3 to 5 months to start a 501c4 or C6, and the ballot deadline to get something on a direct ballot is August, I would be stuck in a situation where either A, I'd be doing all the fundraising the day of the deadline, which doesn't really work, or B, I would be fundraising to my own personal bank account, which is incredibly highly shady, and I don't want any part of that. I could say, donate to the account that, YouTube funds go to, but then there's no transparency there, and I don't think that would really go well with people. So right now what I'm doing is I'm looking to find out how quickly could I start that type of organization, and I'm in talks with an attorney right now that helped me start a C3 a while back to see what can be done there. Your videos got my passion for computer repair and IT in general back, and now in college to pursue it after 10 years of being in automotive. That's awesome. Again, Paul was able to really pivot very well. One of the things I noticed that automotive diagnostics and repair to component level board repair, the skill set appears to transfer over incredibly well. Paul did very well in automotive, and the mindset for diagnostics that he had for doing his job, and how to get into this little area when this piece of whatever thingy that goes to the engine. I don't know shit about cars. You have to go under 5 different pieces to get to it in a MacBook, where like this one chip is hidden behind a NAND that's right next to it that you can't heat. Like all those kind of problems are seemingly related to each other. And if you're able to solve the automotive one, what I found, at least as an employer, is that they're able to solve the electronic ones. You definitely have enough swing to be able to get support from bigger channels. Send them all a mass email. I don't know. I've never been one that plays nice with others. That's not something that I've been good at. Don't buy an Apple pollution. They keep breaking. Try buying an Android politician. Huh? I don't get it. If a 99-pound girl ate 1 pound of nachos, would she now be... Oh, that's just ridiculous.
Hey, you should change your chair. You're blocking Oriole's face.
So?
You're blocking his handsomeness.
Oh, well. He can move over if he wants.
You can't move over.
Erica has only one concern. How old are your cats? Mr. Clinton is going to be turning 12 in August. Blackberry is 11, and Oreo is a mystery. You've... Wes, the issue at this point isn't particularly fundraising, it's having the vehicle to do the fundraising too. Because I think one of the important things here is if I were to do a fundraiser, it would have to be to a C4 or C6 organization. Again, I'm still talking with an attorney about this right now. And I would want to be able to show on the 990 at the end of the year that none of the money went to me. And this is one of the things that I think would be important. So if I were to start fundraising ahead of time, I could have an account, but that would just be like my general YouTube or business account, and you wouldn't be able to see how the money actually gets used. I would want to do it to a C4 or a C6 so that people could actually see that, like I'm not buying a Lamborghini or giving myself a $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 salary from that nonprofit. Because I think that would fundamentally, Mark Schaefer said for $5, right to repair fund to start anyway. Is that the Florida Mark? Is that the famous Florida Mark that does long screw damage repairs all day? I'm honored that you showed up in my stream. Anyway, so one of the things how to put this? So CompTIA, right? So let's say CompTIA is actually the company that does the Net Plus and the A Plus and all that shit. You know those garbage certifications that are really there just for you as a barrier to you being able to get an entry-level job, where they ask you how many Firewire ports you can daisy chain. You know those bullshit A Plus and Net Plus and all that shit that doesn't really teach you anything, but you have to pay for? Did you know that CompTIA is actually a registered nonprofit? They're a registered fucking charity. And the CEO of CompTIA, I think, makes like $900,000 or $1 million a year. It's something crazy. You can look it up. It's public. It's insane. And I want to make sure that if I were to fundraise something, that if I were to do this, that it would be done in a way where somebody couldn't point the finger at me and say, yeah, that's... Because the thing with nonprofits that drives me nuts, there's no such thing as a nonprofit. Like, fundamentally speaking, there's no such thing as a nonprofit. If you pay yourself a salary, you're going to pay yourself a salary that is greater than the amount of expenses that you have in life. If you're like, in every area of life, there is profit. Like when you eat food, you consume more calories than you expend in energy, or you die. Everything is profit. And when you who is to say? So let's say you have an organization that doesn't make a profit, but the reason they didn't make a profit is because the fucking CEO paid themselves $1 million. Like, is that a nonprofit? So I would want to have I would want to do fundraising to an organization where it could be shown publicly on paper, Lewis does not make money from this, because that would be the only way that I think that I'd be able to actually raise something. P. White, why are you talking about things you don't know? To learn. Why are you giving useless comments that don't really contribute to the conversation? Bye-bye. If everything is profit, why are we here? Just to suffer. I don't know. I guess to make profit. Nope, just a software guy. So you're a different Mark Schaefer. There's two Mark Schaefers? Too many people donate blindly to organizations. Love your position. I want to do everything transparently. Thank you. I pissed off 100,000 people. I still do my thing. I looked at your channel because I was looking for that because you mentioned it a few weeks ago in my live stream, and I didn't see where you pissed anybody off. Maybe I missed the video. I know a dude I worked for in the past that did that with a nonprofit. He has a lake house and a Corvette. It's really sad, actually. Yeah, like, again, what define not profiting? You know, I could very easily I could very easily turn Microsoft into a nonprofit by just, you know, paying every executive there like 10 times their normal pay or something. What about the Nacho Girl, sir? I don't understand what you're getting at there, and that's just weird. So, yeah, don't know. Cuomo is not innocent. I don't know. I think he's an asshole more than anything. One of the things that's interesting about the Cuomo situation is that nobody really seemed to care about the nursing home deaths. No one really seemed to care about the fact that he's acted like a dictator over the past year. But then when two people accuse him of sexual harassment, then everything blows up. No, to be clear, I'm not saying that sexual harassment isn't something that should be looked into. I'm not saying that it's not serious. I'm just saying that you have, you know, thousands and thousands of people that died that could have probably not died. But, you know, we did have I forget the name of the ship. It was the USS Comfort or something like that. We had a ship up here that was virtually empty at some point that sailed away that could have been used to treat people rather than them going back into nursing homes. Like there were a lot of issues over the past year that just nobody really seemed to. They never really seemed to hit peak caring about. This is a reminder about the Illinois right to repair bill you requested a few days ago. Remind me someplace where it doesn't go away in 60 seconds because that's unfortunately gone. But thank you, Kopaz. Love your content. Need more kitties too. There is a kitty. See, he's right over there. Look. Oh shit. Wrong way. See, that's a kitty over there. But I can't. He's in the way. I'm in the way, I guess. But the thing that happened with the moment the sexual harassment thing came out, then people started caring about all the other stuff that he did. And I'm not trying to say sexual harassment is not serious. Going up to one of your employees and saying, saying something like, you know, do you have sex with older men when your employee is like half your age? It's kind of weird, you know. It's one of the things that I wouldn't do to one of my female employees. That's on a list of shit that you don't say to your female employees. You know, but again, I'm due process. You know, there should actually be due process rather than just immediately, you know, kicking him out of there. I apply the same standard to people that I like, to people that I hate. But it's just really weird to me that he did a lot of really bad shit over the past year, and it just kind of seemed to and now people notice it. But whatever. Listen, I have videos in 2017 and 18 where it said consider Larry Sharpe for governor of New York. So, you know, I did my part 3 or 4 years ago. Nobody gave a shit. What can I do? What can I do? Wait, you don't have female employees. I have a female employee. You just don't see her on camera because she sees my comment section and has no desire to show up on camera. Let's just be honest here. Erica, stop trolling.
Huh?
Stop trolling, Erica.
No, this cord is so freaking. Oh.
Erica's trying to knock my lights over and kill the kitty. What MacBook do you hate the most when it comes to repairs? A1237 MacBook Air. USNS Comfort treated a full 178 patients out of 1,000 capacity. Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I forget the name of the ship, but I do remember that we had a ship show up, and we also turned the Javits Center into a medical center. And, you know, that would have been a great place to quarantine the elderly so that they did not wind up back in nursing homes. Again, I'm not a planner. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a COVID specialist. I'm not a doctor. But I would probably separate the people that are over 80 years old that don't have COVID from the people that are 80 years old that do have COVID if you have a ship available for treating people that have medical issues and illnesses. Hello, Eli. This is here in support of Eli. I think it's fucked up that he didn't get a gold play button, and he will be here in my videos. Are you going to get the vaccine? Probably not. I looked it up the other day, and there's like 12 or 15 questions that you have to answer after putting in all your personal information, and then it said I wasn't eligible. And like I'm not checking every single day to see if I'm eligible. It's just not, like I don't feel like putting my info into a website every single day to see if I'm eligible. And it also, like, I am on the list of people that are, how do I put this? Let me see if I can show this on screen. Will it show up on screen? How are you? Right to repair, paper hand, biatch. I'm riding with you in this fight. Greetings to Erica. Love you. Listen, I'm happy to have been a paper hands biatch in the last 2 weeks. But anyway, thank you very much. So let's see. Can I? Yeah, here we go. So this is a daily thing that's updated from NYC Health, NYC coronavirus data. So here you get, let me just uncrop this thing here, zoom in so you can see it easier. All right, so age group 25 to 34, people with no pre-existing conditions who died, we have 5. That number has remained. That number at one point actually went up to 6. So that number went up to 6 a few months ago, and then it went back down to 5, which leads me to believe that it was a misreport. So I mean, it's just it's not something that's really up in my mind. Now again, my dad is 72 years old. My dad has had 7 separate surgeries. So my dad is in this group over here. Like he, I haven't visited him in a year. I'd really like to visit my dad. I haven't visited him in a while, but I'm probably not, just because again, my dad is in this category. He fucked. So he's staying inside. He's staying away from people. I would, I'm sure that he'd probably be in line first to get it. But me, like, I'm over here, so it's not something that's really that's really at the top of my mind right now. Can you fix my 2010 MacBook? Screen is out. I probably could, but it's not going to be worth it. The amount of money that you would pay me to fix an 11-year-old computer is probably more than the machine is actually worth. Love your content, need more kitties. We'll work on it. What's your take on Bitcoin? How to put this? It doesn't make sense to me that it's worth as much as it is. I think it's worth as much as it is because people think it's worth as much as it is. But at the same time, it's like that Peter Schiff thing where what he says makes sense, except the one mistake that Peter Schiff consistently makes is that he assumes that the world is rational. And like it's one of those things where I'm not buying in at 50,000. iPhone 6 had dead display, vibrated touchscreen work, but dead backlight. I suppose Apple certified shop seller said it's unfit. That's a very, 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 very long message. Like you gotta give me something shorter with the amount of time that I get to read that. Let me find it. Let me see if I can go back and find it. Come on. That's a book. Okay. Let's see if I can find that. Here we go. I have to pay for a full repair, which is something like $400 for an iPhone 6. Apple certified BS. Dead display, vibrated touchscreen work, but dead backlight. I mean, you could have probably found an independent place to fix that for anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on their costs in the particular area. So depending on their cost, you'd probably find someone that's $50 to $200 to fix a no backlight issue. When do you think we'll get a right to repair act? I don't know. I really don't. It depends on how many people actually care. I was speaking to one of my employees yesterday, and he said, honestly, the biggest problem you're going to have is getting normal, average, everyday people to care, because even when people do care about issues and they actually affect their lives every day, they still don't go out and vote or do anything about it. They'll post a tweet, they'll post something to their Facebook page, and then they go about their daily lives without caring. And this is an issue that a lot of people don't even know is an issue or care about. So even if you do get the awareness out there, then you actually have to get people to care. And that's a difficult one. So I don't know. Isn't it a thing already? It is not. I can't buy a chip. Not it. Many did care about the nursing home scandal, but the media refused to cover it. I cared about it, but eh. Bitcoin is the same as cash. Cash is only worth money because people perceive it to be worth it. Agree and disagree. So Bitcoin goes up and down in value faster than cash. I mean, you could look at the last like 20 or 30 years and see how the U.S. dollar has been inflated, but it's not as volatile in the short term as Bitcoin is. So it's difficult to use it for money. I posted the reminder on Letters to Lewis Discord with a short explanation on why the Illinois bill sucks. Thank you very much. I'll take a look at it shortly. Everything has value and it's only worth whatever you think it's worth. Yes and no. So, I mean, you can think that food doesn't have a lot of value, but if you haven't eaten in 3 to 5 days, you'll realize that it actually does have real value. Whereas, like, Bitcoin or U.S. dollars that are not backed by anything, that really genuinely is only worth what someone thinks it's worth.
Wait. I was just commenting. I just saw Oriole's handsome face.
Once you get a car, we're going to start seeing auto repair videos. Hopefully I don't break my car. What's your thoughts on Ethereum? It's the same shit. Like I don't see differences between. Okay, faster transfer speed, fine. The ability to create, the subcoins and all that, but it's the same general concept. All those cryptocurrencies are based on nothing, and they go up based on what people think it should be worth. For what makes Ethereum worth 1,500 and Bitcoin worth 50,000? I mean, they're both like neither of them are backed by anything physical. Neither of them have. It's not like you. Like the thing with gold, everybody, makes fun of gold and says that it's blah, blah, blah. But like you can use gold to make connectors. You can use gold to conduct electricity. There's a use for it. So you could say, let's say this conducts electricity better than this, or this corrodes less than that. So you could say this is worth more than that because of this reason. But like, what makes Bitcoin worth more than Ethereum, or what makes Ethereum worth more than Litecoin and things like that? That's the part that I just kind of get confused about. It's not like you can make a stronger building out of Litecoin than you can out of this. Like this steel is better than this steel or something like that.
Oh, Oriole.
I don't get it. And it's because I don't get it that I don't invest in it. I try to avoid investing in things that I don't understand, especially when I see them go parabolic like this. Like the cryptocurrencies kind of did this. If it did this, that would be different. But they kind of did this. And when I see this, that kind of scares me. Congrats on passing the driver's test. What kind of car are you going to get? I don't know. I was actually joking because Sonny even though Sonny shit cans Tesla all the time, he still uses it because there are certain things that he likes about it. So I thought I'd try one out. I shit you not. It says the dealer's open till 8. I show up at the dealer. Can I pay you $2,000 to work at your store for a week and learn a little component level repair? I'd be an asset as well. We actually used to have a training program, and I got rid of it because at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, I completely lost my patience for it. And one of the things that I learned from my martial arts instructor, who has 10 times the patience I do, is that I need to get at least half of his level of patience back for teaching before I could do teaching in person. I love teaching in videos. I love it. I despise teaching in person, and I don't know what it is, but I have to. Not at this point in time. So what was I saying? Do you remember what I was saying before that, Erica?
Tesla?
Oh yeah. So it said that the dealer. Can you tell your cats I love them? Kiri loves you, Mr. Clinton.
He's back on his cardboard scratcher in front of you.
Kiri loves you, Oreo. So what was this? Oh yeah, so they said the Tesla dealership is open till 8. So I show up a few hours before they close, nobody there, no lights on inside. Then I see you have to schedule an appointment. So I go to their website and check then I try to schedule an appointment and they actually don't let you schedule an appointment. It's fucking hysterical. So I should buy puts on Tesla tomorrow, I swear. So I was going to save this for a video tomorrow. Yeah, them and your stupid ARC, Erica. So let's figure this out. I'll do this on stream. Would you be willing to go on a show like Tim Pool's to discuss right to repair? He could boost the signal for the cause and inform more people. Absolutely. To be 100% clear, it doesn't matter whether I like or dislike someone, whether I agree or disagree with them. I will speak to anybody regarding right to repair. I would speak to Kyle Kalinske about right to repair. I'd speak to Ben Shapiro about right to repair. I'd speak to Joe Rogan about right to repair. I would speak to virtually anybody about it because it's important. It's what's more important than whether you like or dislike someone or whether your political views align or disalign with them is getting normal, average, everyday people to understand why this is an issue. I would 100% speak to virtually anybody about this. Are you still vegan? Nope. I lasted 5 years. I stopped in December 15th of last year.
Wow, you got the day down.
Yep. So, okay, so I'm going to let's see if I can fill this out. Okay, so I'm going to try and watch this. So check this out. Lewis, Rossmann, email, phone. I'm not interested in this. All right, so I'm going to try to test drive a Tesla. You ready? Because you can't show up at their fucking dealership because if you show up at their dealership, it's closed even when they say it's open. So let's say I want to test drive a Model S, right? I hit next. What's this? What the fuck is this? Try it. I dare you. Try it with my zip code, 10001. You'll see. Tell your cats. Pss, 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 pss. I have no idea how this company is worth this much money. Like this, so Tesla is supposed to be worth more than every other automaker combined. Look at this. Market cap $573 billion. Fuck that. I'm buying puts tomorrow. You can't even try their car in one of the most populous, wealthy zip codes in the United States where they have multiple dealers. Are you kidding me? What a fucking meme. What an absolute utter meme.
People ask if it's the ad block.
No, I don't have ad block on my phone. It does the same thing. I tried Firefox incognito, Chrome incognito, Chromium incognito, and I tried my phone. So it doesn't work with that zip code. It doesn't work with that zip code. It's hysterical. Anyway, greetings. I tried that this morning. That was like, what do you want me to? What do you want me to do? I'm just supposed to give you $70,000 or $80,000 on your website, wait 3 months for delivery in a car I've never tried? Fuck that. Are you looking to make a video on the new European rights repair legislation? Maybe, but again, you can't buy an ISO 9240, it don't count. I have basic shit. Can a technician or end user get access to a schematic if they're willing to pay for it? Can you purchase a chip like a CD3217? If you can't, it doesn't work. Probably works with the Florida zip code. No, it actually works with the Brooklyn zip code. Check this out. This is the funny thing. So if you go to schedule a test drive, and I know it's not that. If you try a different model car, so you have to try a different model car. So let me see if I can get that in there. So I'm going to try a different model car. Let's see. Okay, so I try 10. Here, let's see. I don't want Tesla updates. I'm not interested in Powerwall. Submit and continue. So let's say if you choose the Model 3, then it will let you schedule a time. But for their more expensive, flagship, most popular, well-known model, you're not able to try it. It doesn't say, sorry, we don't have production right now. It doesn't say, this is not available. It doesn't say any of that. It says white screen. White screen. Market cap $570 billion. Get the fuck out of here. Planning on getting a specialist job at my local Apple store. I want to treat people where'd it go? I want to treat people I wish Apple treated everyone, and maybe I'll expose some BS. Yeah, good on you. Show the good on you.
Ooh, Tim is here.
Have you ever convinced an ignorant person to agree with right to repair? I have, but it really doesn't start by calling them ignorant. I have a couple of examples on my... If you really scroll down really far on my community page, you'll see that I have some examples where people were completely skeptical, and then right afterwards they agreed with the idea after I just went over a few things. It really comes... You have to understand why someone is feeling skeptical, and you have to come at it from... You can't come at it from where you are. You have to meet people where they are. And it's worked. Ironically, it was actually in a Tesla forum, so I'm probably not going to be gaining much support among them after saying that, but I have. Hi, Lewis. Any thoughts about cryptocurrency? Rewind 3 minutes. Is CCIV a scam? It's an SPAC. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. If I send you two 2010 Macs, one is mine, the other is son's. Mine screen no good. His bad is done in trackpad. You're gonna wind up probably spending more money fixing them than they're actually worth. You can find them. You can find a 2010 A1278 on Craigslist every now and then for like $150. Whitelist Tesla website from Firefox blocking trackers. It's again on my phone. Does the exact. It's not about trackers because when you choose a different model car, it works. Like just the fact that they on their website it can't say out of stock, check back in a week, not available now. It just goes to a fucking white screen. It's just adorable. You have to use Internet Explorer to register. Do you ever revised iMac 27-inch 1419 LCD hinge mechanism screen repair kit? I have never gotten that repair before. You inspired me to start my YouTube channel. Nothing as complex as you, but you gave me the confidence to repair a board. Thanks. That's awesome. Solidarity with Eli the computer guy. He helped me start mine. Have you tried tweeting Elon yet? I don't have a Twitter, and I am not begging the CEO of a company to allow me to test drive an $80,000 car before buying it. Fuck that. Are you sick of masks yet? No, I'm not. I'm really in the middle over here, which is I disagree with all the draconian shutdown orders. I don't think the government has the right to do that. At the same time, if you're going to be going out during a pandemic and staying open, I believe that there's some basic responsibility that you should take to not get other people sick. So I have nothing against the mask wearing thing. I really don't. I have absolutely nothing against that when I'm at work, when I'm around other people, anything like that. So usually I wind up pissing off people who live in New York who think, how dare you value the ability to not go completely broke and bankrupt over human life? And then I wind up pissing off people that are in Texas and whatnot by saying I think wearing a mask is a responsible, sensible thing to do. So I'm kind of in the middle there where I'm pretty much hated by the people over here and the people over there when it comes to most of the COVID stuff. Beautiful Sunday. Have a great upcoming week and stay safe. Thank you, Master Motivator. You perform repairs on a MacBook 4.1. I don't know MacBooks by those things. I know them by the A number on the bottom of them. If you get, what is a 4.1? A 4.1 is oh hell no! That thing's $25 on eBay, man. What do you want me to fix that for? So, firstly, parts that were not shit stopped being available to that thing in like 2012, 2013. It's been 7 or 8 years since I could get parts to that were in total pieces of shit when on arrival. But secondly, you can buy that computer for $25 working. You don't want me to fix that. Please interview New York City mayoral candidate Curtis Lewa. Oh, I would love to. He's fucking hysterical. Did you see the one where de Blasio said you're not allowed to swim? So he goes, I think it was by Howard Beach, and he's like, he does something like, hey, de Blasio, fuck you, and he dives in the water. He is, I probably disagree with him on some things. I probably agree on others, but he's fucking hysterical. If he ran, he would probably have my vote. Probably. I'd have to ask him some questions first. I would love to. He's fucking hysterical. He is absolutely fucking hysterical. Like he's a that's the generation of New York that people think of when they think of New Yorkers. Like, you know, the I'm walking here guy or whatever. That's the generation of New Yorkers that people think lives in New York now. They've all moved out somewhere else, I imagine. But I don't meet people in New York that are like that anymore. But, you know, that's like the last generation of it. And he actually did some really cool stuff. He did that whole community patrol thing. And he actually got, back when people were more racist in the city, he got people to be less racist because he would let virtually anybody join his group, the Guardian Angels. And it didn't, he used to say, it didn't matter whether you were black, white, Puerto Rican, Indian, whatever. If you had the beret and the red vest or whatever on, people felt more safe when they were around you. And it was really cool. He saw a problem. Like him or dislike him, think he's great or whatever, he saw a problem and he thought, rather than bitching about the problem, let me try to fix my own small corner of the world and make it better in my own way. And he did, and I respect him for that. You know what? I respect him for that. Needs more cat. I don't have cat. I just have Erica typing as loudly as she can to distract me. Lewis, you screwed me over. Got a T450S, had to spend money on an IPS display, solid state drive, keyboard, batteries, spend $750. I didn't sell you a T450S, so I didn't screw you over. That's on you, man. Could have bought a MacBook Air M1 with 15-hour battery, IPS, and CPU that beats an i7. You're comparing a computer that came out many years ago to a computer that's out now. And like, again, spill water on the M1 MacBook and tell me if you still like it. Plug a USB-C dongle into the M1 MacBook and see if you still liked it. People like you are why we have to have disclaimers on everything, and that's the lame shit. Like, that's why you have to have the not financial advice thing anytime you discuss a stock. That's why you have, like... No. That's horseshit. On your bike rides, do you ever ride through Alphabet City? In the 90s, it was a total rat hole. I hear it's totally rich now. Is that true? It's not a rat... It's one of these things where you have certain apartment buildings where it's all people who are poor live there, and then, you know, one block ahead over you have apartments that are $4,000 to $6,000 a month kind of thing, which is really weird. And then you have these stores that are super gentrified, and then right next to the super gentrified hyper expensive store you have a deli that looks like if you walk, you know, if you knock something off of a shelf that the ceiling is gonna fall in on you. But yeah, a lot of it is very gentrified. This dude is blaming you for his dumb mistake. No. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You're responsible for your decisions in life. I invested all my money in GME because you mentioned it in a video, and now I wish to hold you responsible for your professional financial advice. I haven't gotten any of that, and I'm surprised I haven't. One of the things I made sure to mention in those videos and in the Yahoo Finance interview I did is that was 1% of my portfolio. That was the level of confidence I had in that as an investment. 1% of my portfolio. Obvious troll is obvious. You don't think of the landlord from the movie Coming to America. I never saw that movie. Yeah, Yelp is mostly fake reviews now, Joseph Coolest. Most of my Yelp reviews now are fake. That one with the poop emoji kind of made me laugh, but still. Under Yang's proposal, someone on disability doesn't get any money from the government. Anyone on benefits doesn't get that $1,200. It ends up being regressive when you look at the details. There's going to have to be something in there to actually be able to pay for it. I'm learning to repair GPUs. I see you and others using software schematics. Do you know anything, chat, for GPU schematics? Nope. That's why I don't fix GPUs. Can't get schematics and can't get chipsets. So that's one of the reasons that I don't fix GPUs. And also, most of the time, it winds up being the actual chip that's dead, and the chip winds up costing almost as much as the graphics card itself. What's the best way to get into board repair? Find cheap, broken stuff. Find cheap 5 or 6 or 7-year-old Acer laptops, or cheap pieces of crap with boards that are somewhat standard, because a lot of PC laptops will use boards that are made by standard boards that are the same between 2 or 4 different machines. Find a schematic or board before it, buy cheap ones, and get to work. Don't start trying to get into board repair by buying a broken M1 MacBook. Buy an Acer 5517 or something, or 5517 or something like that. Do you think Cuomo should resign or be impeached? I think he should, not just because of the sexual harassment stuff, but also because he fundamentally, at his core, believes he's a dictator. I prefer Western Digital myself. He seems to have this belief that he's a dictator, and he's not a dictator, and I don't like that. And I think he should. This is what Larry Sharpe said throughout his entire campaign. All of Larry Sharpe's criticisms of Cuomo are criticisms that I would agree with for the most part. GME to the moon, says Michael Stubbs. That's not financial investment advice. Can I put my guinea pig in the microwave, says Loppy. No, don't do that. That's not nice. Do you think GameStop will squeeze, or is Wall Street Bets a confirmation bias bubble at this point? I think that a lot of Wall Street Bets has turned into a confirmation bias bubble. There is this one particular stock, and I forget the name of it, but it'll come to me soon, where someone said, look, Melvin Capital bought puts. Click here, you'll see all their puts. And then a bunch of people commented and said, oh, of course I'm going to buy this. Screw Melvin. And then when you click it, it actually shows that they got rid of all their puts several months ago. So they had puts. They got rid of it. They have 0 puts right now. And if you actually check the SEC form, it's right there. And I remember commenting on that thread. So there's a lot of garbage there now. And you're going to find a lot of garbage because they went from 1 million to 8 million members. There's no community is going to go from 1 million to 8 million members inside of a month and retain whatever it was that made it interesting.
One question. I don't understand. I've been replying to Gonzalo several times about this, and it keeps getting spammed. Can you not read my reply, Gonzalo? I don't mean it offensively, but seriously, I'm just wondering.
He wants an answer from me personally.
Okay.
You're not good enough. I love when people pretend that my staff doesn't exist, or that Erica doesn't exist. It's adorable. People will do someone will call in and say, "I have something to send you. Where should I send it?" And Kevin will say, "You can send it to the store." And they'll say, "Yeah, but I want to talk to Lewis about it." And what I've found out is that that's a Trojan horse for people to want to have very long conversations, drawn out conversations with me.
How do you end the conversation?
You're answering. You don't. You just pretend it's not there. I don't know. That's my socially awkward way of dealing with that. Because Kevin tricked me with a few of those. I want to thank you for looking at my dead MSI laptop a while ago. It couldn't be fixed, but at least you looked. Thank you, Maurice. Shout out to Gonzalo for pretending Erica doesn't exist. That's adorable. Erica has an angry Erica face right now. I love
No,
when
I
people
replied like 2 times. and
I
then
love when people
tagged.
pretend you don't
No, and
exist.
then-
It's adorable.
No, and then after I tagged, right, I get the same message, and then you
I
get the
know.
same repeat message like 10 seconds later.
Because you don't fucking exist. That's hysterical.
Oh.
Okay, can I send you something? Is actually, and this we've learned this the hard way, is code for I want to have a 30-minute conversation with Lewis about something completely unrelated. But that's like the way you get your foot in the door. I had someone that was actually trying to sell me a different type of business loss of income insurance, but they tried to get their foot in the door by sending, I have an A1181 that I want to send you. Or like, it's a trick, Erica. You're getting fooled.
How about the one guy who tried to give you that chip, remember?
Yeah, sure, it's a gift. You get that. Oh, you remember the guy
the
the chip. Oh, remember the fuckface? There was this fuckface that said, I want to give you a chip. And he's like, and then he stood in the store for about 20 or 30 minutes. And then he refused to just leave it there. And then he tried to bargain giving me 1 chip for a free motherboard repair. So he wanted me to fix his board for free in exchange for giving me a chip. Like, there's no such thing as a free gift.
He had a gift. It was actually a stream, and then afterwards he was mad.
I got to read this, Erica. I got to move on. I just missed one. But yeah, like, there's no such thing. Like, my address is public. If you want to send something, send something. If you don't want to send something, but it's actually a Trojan horse to sell me business loss of income insurance or something, then you'll ask over and over, but demand that you get your answer from me. That's why they're pretending you don't exist, Erica.
I feel like a ghost.
I know. Do you think end user licenses, digital or otherwise, should be transferable to end users? My logo is a sheep because I am honest and my business is honest, humble, and doesn't rip you off. Whatever you buy on iTunes can be sold to a different user. That usage then goes to the one that bought it. The basics of the first sale doctrine. I think that makes sense, and I think that that's going to be something that's needed in a world where when you purchase a product, you're buying the features and software. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say you buy a car and you spend $10,000 extra for the self-driving feature. If you spend $10,000 extra at Tesla for the self-driving feature, I think when you sell that Tesla, you should also be selling the self-driving feature to the next person. But if Erica who, said Sad Dane. Erica who? Erica is not real. Erica is a social construct, says Karas.
I am definitely real.
She's not real. She's a hologram.
I'm not a hologram.
She's as real as that little emoji that's appearing in the bottom of the screen right here. She's as real as this. Cuomo is the Trump of Democrat, a bully whose appeal is a strong man. I agree. Like Cuomo got where he is because his dad did it for, again, nepotism. Like his dad's the governor, now I'm the governor. Trump's dad was a real estate person, so Trump's a real estate person. Like they both get incredibly they both get incredibly offended and butthurt over basic simple shit. So for Trump gets butthurt over people criticizing him and lashes out. There was this one person that had criticized Cuomo in public, who was a sponsor of the e-bike bill that got vetoed. I think 137-4 was voted in favor of it. It should have passed. This one person that was a sponsor of it criticized him once publicly, and then right in response to it, he fucking vetoes the bill. And there were people that were around him, I remember at the time reading about this, that were saying he can't, he vetoed it just because he didn't like the person that was sponsoring it. There's a lot of similarities between the two. I don't like either. Hi, Lewis and Erica. Here's some money, but I'm in Canada, so after YouTube's cut, you might get a coffee. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Can I grab a kitty? Okay, let's grab a kitty.
Erica is showing a MacBook. Blasphemy. Indeed. MacBook. Can you fix my iPad Pro 2020 for free? I spilled water on it. I will get your data off if you give me a bunch of money. Tesla sells the feature with the car. Some people want that change to sell to the owner instead. That would be weird. Yeah, but if you buy a product, whatever features you got with it, you should be able to transfer to the next owner. Erica is not a person. She is an ideology. She's actually an optical illusion with that shirt that she has on.
What? You've never seen stripes in your life?
Love your videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Mahalo for exposing Apple's ridiculousness. Are you Hawaiian? Someone said mahalo, Erica.
Yay!
That's your people. Your people are in the chat.
It's nice and warm in Honolulu.
Don't you need an extended warranty for your car? Yeah. Is the duck qualified in complex board repair now?
Something a little sexual.
You don't sexualize my duck.
Just saying.
What a freaking... I normally assume politicians are bought off by donors, but I actually think Cuomo is as driven as much by his ego. Certainly it's not his constituents. I would agree. Perhaps it's both. Mala Chad, that would be cool. You deliberately ranted on Cuomo to ignore my super chat. We have priorities here, man. When are you rehotting Erica's CPU and GPU again? Now I know to pay you money to do things on stream. You have graduated to e-girl. Yeah, he was the one that paid me to rehot your CPU and GPU, which actually killed your old motherboard. I gave her a better one.
I remember.
Yeah, I
remember.
I kind of wanted to kill Cleo anyway.
Cleo's dead,
Cleo.
but I still have her around in her case.
Cleo was dead anyway. I just finished it off. Please turn on slow mode. Yeah. Would you leave the U.S. if given the opportunity to? I don't know where I'd go to.
I think Tommy Sucks wants you to have OnlyFans.
You've seen the M1 money supply. I have. It's scary. Kind of explains oil prices. And corn prices. And oil prices, corn prices, copper prices, steel prices, soybean prices, wheat prices, home prices. It's really interesting to go on Zillow and see all these houses that sell for, $50,000 to $100,000 more than the Zestimate and what the house was actually listed for. But there's no inflation. There's no inflation. New York politics is all about getting rid of the guy ahead of you so you can move up a spot and be in charge. Sounds like this shitty city. You're flying a Cessna to Australia, remember? Erica said she doesn't have confidence in flying with me in a Cessna once I get my pilot's license. I got my driver's license. I want to get my pilot's license. I want to be able to fly a Cessna 402. Erica said that the inside of all the Cessna 402s looks like rusted and ratted and beat up. I love those Cessna 402. I want to fly a Cessna 402.
My fear is that, what goes
Will you
up
get
must
Clinton
come
some
down.
stairs to take over your chair? He doesn't need stairs. He's not Oreo. He can actually move.
Hey.
Details omitted. Tri-state area doesn't allow citizen-initiated ballot initiative. Nearest is Massachusetts. Do you plan to move if you pursue the idea? I don't know. Maybe I would spend a year in Massachusetts. First thing I got to do is, A, figure out if I could... Would you run for public office? Hell no. I don't hate myself that much. The first thing that I would do when it comes to... I'd have to figure out how quickly I can start a C4 or C6. And if I'm incapable of starting it in time, is it worth the risk to try and fundraise to my own business account to do the work? And then I would figure out if I'd want to move to Massachusetts to actually pursue that. But Massachusetts would be the state that makes the most sense to pursue it in. I've spent time in Massachusetts. I've lobbied in Massachusetts before. I spent a short period of time living there a couple of days a week. And I know, and also, yeah, it's close by. I don't know. Maybe I'd move to Massachusetts. Maybe I'd be in Cambridge for a year. Just want to say hi to my favorite streamer, YouTuber. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Yannick. It was frame.work, Eric Kislar. What laptop would you recommend to me as a university student, not for gaming? I don't know. ThinkPad. I don't know what you value or what you care about. But the problem with Cambridge, Massachusetts is that everything is insanely expensive. I think that's one of the few areas of the United States that's more expensive than New York City. Like, holy crap, the cost of apartments or anything in that place is through the roof. Massachusetts makes New York look like land of the free. What do you mean by that? I'm curious. What's up with the Christmas tree in the background? Says Stella Katz. That Christmas tree is Erica's Christmas tree. She likes adding things to the apartment.
But you know what? Christmas trees grow year-round.
Is it worth fixing a MacBook 2012? That depends on what's wrong with it and whether or not you think it's worth it. What are your thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard? She's not electable. She is not electable. It's sad. Like, for the same reason that Andrew Yang is not electable. It was so sad. Like, I remember just watching her BTFO Kamala Harris, and then right after that, Kamala Harris becomes vice president. It's just like, what the fuck? I was so happy when she just Kamala Harris out of the way. I was happy watching that. I was proud of her. Have you tried reaching out to any other creators about right to repair? Think if someone lit a video about it. LTT made a video about it would gain good traction. Perhaps. I'm not a very social person, so I'd have to figure out how to do that type of stuff. It's something that, the thing is, I want to time it properly. Like, if I were to do something like that, I would want to time it at the same time that I have the ability to fundraise, so that once there was all of this talk about it, then I'd be able to combine, take that buzz about it and turn it into a call to action of, you know, if you bought Bitcoin at $100, consider giving some to this 501c4 that I could then use for a direct ballot initiative to BTFO, Apple, Samsung, and everybody else who's going to try and get it pushed out. I think it's fair to say that people in power right now have no interest in pushing right to repair. I don't really care about the people in power. If I get a direct ballot initiative, then it's not about the people that are in power. It's about the people that are voters. A direct ballot initiative just completely bypasses people in power. That's the whole point of a direct ballot initiative. It's just that it takes a lot of money to do that. Like millions and millions and millions to do that. Details omitted. Tri-state area doesn't allow a citizen. Oh yeah, I think I read that one. Yeah, Massachusetts is where I'd be thinking of. Affiliate links aren't working. I want that duck. I thought it does work. I made the link the same, the link that Erica linked me to. I can't right now. I'm going to miss every 10 seconds. I got to read something. It sounds like you're talking a different language. Huh.
Oh, your microphone link doesn't work either.
Yeah, I can't fix that right now. Because if I go to fix that right now, then I'm going to miss everything else. Where do you stand on Gen Z attempt to cancel Eminem? I don't even know that. I haven't followed any of that. I don't know. I liked his music when I was a kid. It was catchy. I don't really, you know, he says a bunch of fucked up shit, but like I thought that was kind of the point of his music to begin with. Basil the Seagull says hi. Okay. That's interesting. Direct ballot in California resulted in Supreme Court of California declaring it null and void and unconstitutional. That's one of the reasons that I would try to do it in New York and not in, not in New York, in Massachusetts and not in California. I don't think I'd try to do anything in California. That would probably go, yeah, I wouldn't bother doing anything in California. I don't think that would go well. You see the entire industry coming from the work you do. Is trade school the ideal route, and do you see yourself helping to push it? I don't know if a trade school would make sense. I don't know. I mean, what would a trade school offer that you don't get from these YouTube videos and practice on your own, you know? Any plans to come in Albany for right to repair in the near future? I think I ran into you in the Center of Gravity in Troy a couple of years back. I don't know what the Center of Gravity is, but I don't think I've ever been to Troy. I would go to Albany again for it. Absolutely. I've been to Albany a couple of times, and there's a couple of recordings on my channel from when I went. One time I couldn't because they didn't allow recording, which was really lame. But I've been to Albany a few times for right to repair in the past. Are you trying to get Right to Repair Act in all 50 states? Well, the direct ballot initiative, thank you, MD, would really happen in one state first. And then here's the whole problem. Every state likes to say, well, no other state has done this, so we can't do it. So once you get it passed in one state and they see that the world hasn't exploded or the world hasn't ended, then they feel more comfortable passing it in their state. And that's what I've gotten from a lot of people so far. So doing it at the federal level is virtually impossible. Doing it at the federal level is impossible because of how slow and how corrupt everything is at the federal level, but doing it at the state level is the place where it's more likely to be successful, particularly since states are typically the ones responsible for consumer protection legislation, and this would be considered consumer protection legislation. Would you just live in a condo or a house? I prefer a house because I have speakers that are very loud, and I enjoy using my speakers, and I don't feel like someone banging on the wall or banging on the ceiling saying, "Cut that out!" with their broom every time I play my music. Also, Massachusetts has the history behind it of having already passed the automotive right to repair bill, and the world didn't end. So you can point and say, look, see, the world didn't end when you passed this, and this is pretty much a copy and paste for consumer electronics. Gargle, mob, oh, out of here. How is Erica? Erica's doing well. She's typing furiously.
Hi, Emily.
How'd you start your business? I have a 1 hour video called The Answer to Everything that goes over the entire thing. The TLDR of that video is by accident. I bought a machine that I needed to be able to use for logic sessions. It came broken because it was max sold on eBay. I resold it. After fixing it, I actually screwed it up a little bit, so I only broke even. The next one that I did, I made $240 on. I had no money. So thanks for brainwashing a brainless corporation worshiper into a free-thinking man. Thank you, Magic King. So after that, I said, oh, I lost my job. I make no money, but I just made $200 or so in like 20 minutes. Let me try that again. And that went from there. Do you support hire and fire at will employment laws? I support the ability to hire and fire people at will, because if someone does something that is highly, incredibly stupid, I want the ability to let them go. But I think that's different from the whole concept of cancel culture, which is where it's not about whether you did something that bothers me. It's about whether you did something that other people will get mad at. So, for instance, like if one of Kevin Dell Latitude over ThinkPad, I have fixed thousands of tech. I need my track point button. I like my track point button. So the point here would be, so cancel culture, I think, is different from at-will employment. So for instance, let's say I have an employee and for a full month, they suck at board repair. They stop doing their job well. I put my best effort in to try and fix it. I try to talk with them. I ask them if things are going on. You know, is there anything going on at home? Do you need some paid vacation? Like what's going on? How can I help you get back to where you were? And they don't get better. I should be able to fire you. Cancel culture would be, my employee says something on Twitter that may be mildly insensitive, but otherwise they do their job great. They're great at their job. They just said something on Twitter that's mildly offensive. And then some people that are not even customers in my business start calling in and saying, we're going to let everybody know if you keep this person on, and then I fire them. You see, like there's a bit of a difference there. Greetings from Argentina. I missed that. Where do you stand the Gen Z attempt to cancel Eminem? I actually asked you, what are you talking about? Because I don't know anything about a Gen Z attempt to cancel Eminem, and you haven't answered me. But for some reason, that message showed up on the screen again. So I would repeat my answer to your question. I don't make a living repairing Macs, but I find your videos interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I think you asked that question already. Either that or Streamlabs is broken and displaying it over and over again. I don't know anything about that. I mean, I don't know anything about it. So I think I asked you for clarification, and instead of giving me clarification, you copied and pasted the question, which makes it more and more difficult to be able to answer your question. Have you considered choosing a motorcycle instead of a car? I'm quite young and still feel that paying $3,500 a year for car insurance in a car, only worth around $1,000, is robbery. I have considered it, but I don't know. The thing with having a bike with a motor, I'm comfortable going 45 miles an hour down a street that I would not feel comfortable going more than 20 or 25 with a car. Like I am very okay. Now I know it's screwy because I read that already. Anyway, so I'm comfortable because a motorcycle or a bike with a motor, I can swerve around things easier. So let's say someone is walking or they just pop out from outside of a car or something, and with a car, it's harder to get out of the way than with a motorcycle or with a bike. So I'd feel more comfortable with a bike in general, because I feel like I can get out of the way if something is in my way, because it's a thinner vehicle and it's also easier to maneuver. But at the same time, if I'm going to travel on a highway for hours at a time, I don't want to be traveling 70 to 90 miles an hour on a motorcycle. Like, call me a bitch, call me whatever. I don't feel like that. There's been enough times, I like jazz, but I don't play any music. Yeah, there's been enough times where there's like a teeny tiny bump in the road or some teeny tiny thing and I go over it and I almost lose control of it. Whereas with a car, you don't. That I would, for a long-term trip, I'd probably feel better in a car than a motorcycle. But for a short-term trip, I'd probably much prefer a motorcycle to a car, especially since you can go around the cars and zigzag around stupid traffic. Links aren't working. I want that duck. That's weird because they work for me, but I can't fix that right now. You can't. You can only log into my live account, not my normal one. Yeah. But you can't log into this one, even if I approve the notification on my phone. Huh. Track point buttons are useless. Okay, you're about to get banned. You're about to get banned. When I find you in the chat, I'm gonna ban you. There are certain things that I'm gonna cancel you. That's cancel culture right there. You insult the track point, you're out of my chat. Okay, I approved it, Erica. I don't know. I haven't followed Eminem since the Eminem show. The last Eminem album that I had was the Eminem Show. Everything after that kind of started to go downhill and suck. So I haven't paid attention to Eminem in 19 years now, so I don't really know what he's been doing. Are you trying to get right to repair passed in all 50 states? I answered that one already. Massachusetts has some of the most vibrant direct democracy legislation in the country. I agree. That's one of the reasons I would target it. You can't edit the link that's in there, though.
No, I can send it in chat.
What's a good place to buy a BJ rework station? I bought one from Advanced Reworks, but never got it, and now I can't get my money back from them or the unit. Did you pay with a credit card? Because if you pay with a credit card, you could always file a chargeback. I don't know where to get one, honestly. That's where I got mine from, but that was also 7 years ago. Craziest story about a customer you haven't told before. There's so many that I don't even know where to start. They go in one ear and out the other. I had some fuckface the other day say, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? So this one guy, how many cats is too many? Not sure. So check this out. So this one guy has a screen replaced here, and he has no complaints. The screen is great. He says thank you very much when he leaves. But he has the keyboard problem. You know the butterfly keyboard problem all the MacBooks have? So he goes to Apple to have the butterfly keyboard replaced, and for some reason, they replaced his screen and his keyboard. They did it for free. They didn't bill him any money. They didn't charge him any money. But because Apple replaced his screen that we already replaced because he had cracked it or something, he says, I want a full refund on the screen that you replaced because Apple replaced it again, even though the screen was perfectly fine. And he said, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? And like, Kevin was nice to him on the phone. I would have told him, like, have a brown pill. I'm going to shit on your face. Like, I don't know how to fucking respond to that. So that's the most recent stupid shit that I've gotten. Someone on the phone going, do you want a red pill or a blue pill? Like, I would have just told him brown pill. Bring your MacBook in. I'm going to take a shit on it. Are you serious? You got a service that worked. Everything worked. You took it somewhere else and they replaced it again for no good reason and you want a refund. Like, get the fuck out of here. I expect that to be my next 1-star. That will be fun to respond to. But Kevin was way more patient than I would have been with that. And that's one of the reasons that Kevin's a really good employee. Do you have a P.O. box to send gifts to? No, but I have a store address.
Tell people to look in chat. I put the duck in.
Oh, also, Erica put the duck in the chat.
They only have the pink one in stock.
I like Chick Corea, but I think he died recently. That makes me sad. What do you think Apple's going to do about EU law that will prevent sale of phones and electronics that won't allow third-party repairs and replacement available parts for 10 years? I think that there's going to be a loophole that allows them to get around it. So I was excited about that whole thing where they had to label their products based on how repairable they are. And then I found that the labeling was completely off. So they labeled the MacBook hard to get into, but easy to find parts for, which is retarded because you can get into it with a $3 screwdriver. You just pop the lid off and everything is there. It's actually really easy to get into, but you can't buy the parts because when you contact the vendors for those parts, they say we're not allowed to sell it to you. Not everything is cancel culture. I mean, you could find cancel culture in a bowl of soup if you look hard enough, like this Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato stuff is a giant overreaction. I don't focus on the culture war stuff as much as like there was a time a few years ago where I honestly, I'll fully admit that I focused on that crap more than I should have. And I just stopped because it's just like, it's not even about picking a side or what do you think is right or not. It's just, how does this affect my life? And it really doesn't. I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it. If people like it, great. If they don't like it, fuck off. But I'm not focusing on that stuff. I'm focusing on the things that matter to me. And I'm focusing on the things that matter to the people that I care about. I'm not getting into shit about like Mr. Potato Head or Doctor or that stuff anymore. It's just, it's a distraction. But yeah, the person who said that cancel culture is the same thing as at-will employment, I think that's very far off, because I think cancel culture is we're going to fire someone who didn't do anything wrong on the company time because other people dislike what they did on their personal time, whereas at-will employment is you did something stupid on company time, you continuously did stupid shit on company time, so I'm letting you go because you're not making me money anymore and you're screwing with my customers. When is it time to stop renting? Do the benefits of paying $900 for a mortgage outweigh paying $900 for rent? It Depends on the housing prices in your area, and it also depends on property tax in your area. So, for instance, if you live someplace like New Jersey, I don't see where it makes sense to purchase. Because if you purchase a middle class average house on a lot of parts of New Jersey, you're paying $12,000 to $17,000 a year in property tax. Or let's say Long Island, lots of Long Island, $15,000 to $16,000 a year in property tax. You don't actually own where you live, so there's really no point to actually owning it instead of renting. I would rent in that area because there's no such thing as ownership, and the tax is going to go up and up as time goes on. Whereas in some certain areas of Florida or Delaware, or the property tax is low enough that you actually own your home, or at least you could at least feel like you own some of your home. You may pay only a few $1,000s a year in property tax, where you actually do own it. So it really depends on the area. Does a duck make noise? He sure does.
By the way, yellow duck is out of stock. It's just pink and stuff. Mad duck.
Why don't you move to Texas? Because they're in denial about the actual cause of their energy problems? It's fun to laugh at California for all the stupid shit that they do. But I try to avoid laughing at that stuff because at the end of the day, the people that are there who are suffering from certain things are Americans. And I don't want to laugh. I don't laugh at Texas either. But the whole thing that happened recently where they were trying to blame it on renewable energy, it's just like, really? Really? I mean, have you seen Des Moines, Iowa? Have you seen, what are the problems that Des Moines, Iowa has at -3 Fahrenheit? Okay, now what are the problems that you have with that same technology at 26 to 33 degrees? It's just like, that kind of got me down on Texas a little bit. I'll probably visit at some point. For sure I'll visit. I want to visit every state in the country at some point. But stuff like that really showed me that it's not just New York where our politicians suck. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's just I notice New York politicians suck more because I live here. Do you find time to take care of yourself? I do. I take care of myself and my ducky. Thank you, Mario.
Robust.
How about the limitation of Cuomo's emergency powers? I mean, who cares? I mean, it's even a year. March 20, we're 13 days away from 14 days to stop the spread. We're 14 days away from the year anniversary of when I was supposed to shut down my store because he released that pause order that, I'm 1 year later thankful to God that I didn't listen to. But it's been a year. The damage is done. Who cares? What does it matter now that you're eliminating his emergency powers? I mean, it's been a year. You're taking the serial killer's axe away after he already has his victims in his freezer. You want the politicians to get on the wind turbines with a blow dryer and defrost them? No, that's Kathy Newman shit right there. That's strawman crap. I want them to admit fault and not try to scapegoat shit. Don't say this technology doesn't work in this weather when just a few states up, where it's 30 degrees cooler, there's no problem with it. Because it's our politicians suck. Your politicians suck for a different reason than our politicians suck. But they still suck to a fair extent. I mean, I thought the same thing. To be clear, I don't know much about renewable energy. I fix MacBook motherboards. But it didn't take that much research for me to figure out that there are other areas of the U.S. that are using the exact same technology in an area that's 30 degrees colder all the time without those problems. And to blame it on that rather than on something else is just a way of dealing with a way of avoiding dealing with the problem. Gas power plants were even more affected by the cold than wind turbines. Yeah, and like that stuff just got completely ignored. Let's just bash on wind and solar. Time to jump Charlie Brown Christmas tree. That was pure copium right there. And I get it. Like, I get why the copium is required, because after so many years of making fun of California, and admittedly there's a lot to make fun of in California, it would be difficult to accept that maybe our place has some problems as well that we need to deal with. So there had to be a fucking scapegoat for it. I think it's also a pride thing. But for me, it's easy. I don't have New York pride. I don't take pride in the fact that I was. For me, I don't take any pride in the GPS coordinates of where I was born. So it's easy for me to discuss my local politicians in the way that I do, because I don't have New York pride. And I understand that that's different from people in different areas. The people that I've met that live in Texas when they've visited New York or when I've been in another state, they actually have pride for where they were born. They're proud to be Texan. I'm not proud to be a New Yorker at all. So it's kind of different for me. It's difficult for me to understand what would motivate people to blame the wind turbines for everything. It's not a straw man, Master Quack. I listened to the arguments. I watched it on television. I heard what was said. It was, as the weeks went on, they kind of started to address reality, but it took a while. I still prefer the state without the income tax. Yeah, don't get it twisted. If I had to choose New York or Texas, if I had to choose, I'd probably take that over this. How can I request for my MacBook Pro 2016 to be repaired? You go to EliTheComputerGuy.com and you fill out the mail-in form. All right. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. With the money Lewis makes, he could have a McMansion in Texas, probably. Depends what part. I was looking at... a friend of mine lives in Austin, and I was looking at the prices of everything in Austin, and it's it's going to be the next Brooklyn. Give it 2 years. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. GME to the moon? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll see you later. Look at the guy with the driver's license. I don't have a driver's license yet. All I have is this stupid, shitty little receipt. Check it out. Is it true you're going on Joe Rogan's show? I think you mean Rogan, and I don't know.
Rogan.
Look at my receipt, baby. Until I get my license in the mail, this is all I get. I'm still waiting for my renewed store license that I paid for in June of 2020, so I'm not holding my breath. So this little piece of shit paper needs to last me a really long time. But I got my state ID, and I got my little receipt paper that says that I'm allowed to drive. Anyway, see you all later.